Hello and welcome all to the second day of EPIC Higher EdTech Innovation Conclave. I'm very pleased to welcome and host all the eminent panelists present in this panel. In this panel, we are going to discuss very important topic that is the new innovations and the use of newest technologies for admissions, enrollments, and assessments. For this panel, we have with us Suprita, AVP Growth Extra Age. She will be moderating this session. We have been joined by Dr. Sandeep, Chairman, ASM Group of Institutes. Welcome, Dr. Sandeep. We also joined by Professor Aditya Mohan Jadhav, Chairman, Branding and PR, Tapni Manipal. Thank you so much, Professor Aditya, for joining us. We have with us Mr. Devendra Narayan, Director, Corporate Relations, Shobit University. Mr. Devendra, welcome. We'll be joined shortly by Purnima Prakash, Manager Outreach, Avantika University. By the time, I would request Suprita to take over the session and moderate this, and Purnima will join in next 2-3 minutes. So over to you, Suprita. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Gopi, that for the warm welcome to everybody. So I would want to quickly start on opening remarks. The topic that we have been handed today is tackling the innovation in admission, enrollment, assessment, and marketing. A very interesting one, in fact. I have always thought, when I thought about this topic, again, my question is there a need to tackle, or should we, embrace innovation to start with? Is it progressive, or is it digressive at the end of the day, right? So I have a set of questions that I have curated around this topic, and the first question to you, Devendra sir, is more to do from whenever we think of adopting a technology. I think the first question comes is data security. It's at the top of every decision maker's, every chairman's mind, that this is my bread and butter. What happens if this goes to the other hands? How do I protect that, right? At the same time, there is that challenge of having technology. I do want progressive technology. I want the best for my team. But how do I tackle data security? So what are your views on this, sir? How do you think institutions can tackle data security as a core concern while adopting a technology for admissions and marketing?
Suprita, it is not a question with higher education. Data is an issue with all the marketing and sales giant. I mean, wherever you talk about, even if you talk about, I mean, you just think of anything, and it is always about data security. But I'm a little bit differing on this issue. Reason being is that what exactly the data is. For a higher education institution, or for the marketing purpose, or the sales purpose, whatever data we are getting, we are getting from different sources. The sources, some are reliable sources, or some are basically we just collect data from the market, from the open market. So the data I'm having with me, maybe the same data is with the 10 other institutions as well. So it is not important about the security of data. It is important about the action. How fast you're able to take action on that data.
Right.
Suppose if there are so many companies who are offering, yeah, of course, there are some data, we normally call it an organic data, the data which has been collected by the sales team or outreach team from the different sources. Maybe data from schools, or data maybe data from the colleges. So that data, definitely, according to them, it is, yes, it is their own data. They put their effort on that, and somehow they're able to get it. But honestly speaking, nowadays data is a very common thing.
Right.
Okay, so it is not only about the security of data. It is more important is how we are using that data, how fast we are able to react on that data, and how well we are able to convince the potential aspirants that why X university, why university, and why my university. So according to me, the data security is secondary. The most and prime factor is that how we are able to utilize that data with because you know after the digital revolution, definitely people will always say that data is bread and butter, and this is going to be one of the major problem in coming times. Okay, you talk about your mobile phone. The first thing in the morning is how to manage my data, how to secure my data. So data definitely is an important thing, but again, I'm repeating it. It is more important at how we are going to use that data, and definitely technology is going to help in that in a better way. Thank you.
I like that point, sir. So I really appreciate the point that you've brought up. If I have to ask you between the first touch point, right? So when you say that, I agree with you. The same data is today, circulated to 50, 60 different colleges. But however, if I have to ask you, what is the prime touch point? Would you suggest that the first touch point should be a email, SMS, or a call directly, right?
I'm sorry, Supreet. I'm sorry. Your voice is really not audible.
Okay. Are you able to hear me, sir?
Please repeat the question.
Okay, you're able to hear me now, sir?
No, I'm not able to. I think the same problem with others also. I'm not able to hear you properly.
Okay. A quick check with the Pachpande, sir. Are you able to hear me? Is my audio coming to you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I think Devendra, sir, there is a bit of an echo at your end still. If you can just, sort that out. Meanwhile, I'll come back to you with another question, sir. All right. So quickly, moving on, I would want to welcome Purnima, ma'am.
Yeah,
Hi,
hi.
good afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Hi, good afternoon.
I think we had a bit
I
of
hope
technical issues. It's good.
yes, I did. I think with digitalization, there is always bad and good both. So I think I just faced a little something here. But yeah, I'm back again here.
Okay, wonderful. Good to have you. I think that's what we were talking, whether it is good or bad. What is the weightage, when it's about technology, what should we weigh towards? So quickly coming to my next question is to Aditya sir. So you have been there, done almost all that, an institute should do. With TAPMI being the, top institution in management. I'm sure you run a lot of processes around assessment, entrance exams, accreditation, and things like that, right? I'm sure your prime focus is around the stage after application, where you do a lot of action. So, if I have to ask you, how with all of these several complex processes that you have, has technology been able to address the challenges that exist there? If yes, what are the tools that you would recommend in this region, sir? Yes, perfect. Please go ahead, sir.
Thanks, Suprita. So, an interesting question and a lot of assumptions that you have made there, that we don't have to struggle much on the admissions front. That's not the case. Okay, given that our target audience is still in the top percentile, okay, the competition is tougher there. The trust does not agree for us to go down on the percentiles and other things. So some of these issues do hurt us. But then, like you said, I have a different take than what you just said, Suprita. Complexities exist in every activity and at every level, right? The perception of complexities is different for different people, but complexities exist. For example, irrespective of which level you are, admissions will involve, generating interest in your target group, because every college has its own target group, and then attracting applications, doing an assessment. The assessment generally for every institute is one which involves face to face, like GDPS. Another is where you don't have face to face, like assessment tests and other things. Then you have the offer finalization. Then you have student enrollment, that is closing the application and collecting fees. And more importantly, nowadays you also have student support, right? Student support in ensuring that he moves to the institute properly. And equally important is students financial support nowadays, where you are expected to help a student get a loan cleared, right? A lot of students depend on the institute to help them in getting a loan, education loan, right? Now,
Right.
This is a fairly complex process for any institute today, right? Irrespective of the level. And
Right.
technology certainly has helped, okay? But like a few minutes back, Ms. Purni was saying, right, technology also has its negative edge. But I think that comes from the fact that technological adoption, what is the approach towards technology adoption, right? So institutes can decide to adopt technology for a few activities out of the whole supply chain, if you ask me to do, or value chain, if you ask me to define it, or institutes might decide to adopt technology to have a seamless flow of information and data throughout this process, right? If you ever get a chance, one of the best books I have read over technology adoption, and I started reading it after I took over admissions in 2017, was George Westerman's. It's a Harvard book on leading digital. Okay, a very interesting discussion where it discusses how technology adoption by non-IT guys. Okay, those who are not in the IT sector can really help. And one of the key things he says, if technology is to be adopted, it has to be adopted throughout. And when you adopt technology throughout, okay, a lot of processes need to be modified, but then the output is extremely superior than anything else, right? And that is, for example, a very simple example of this aspect is in our admissions process. I am sure every institute, basically, once they receive a list of aspiring students, right, and you can get that list either from some of these providers, content list providers like MB Universe and others who are, or you can have your own Facebook or LinkedIn programs or promotions which can generate these leads. Okay, we generally go ahead and have cold calling, right? We have people who will call and ask, right, are you interested, why, right? But how many institutes have actually adopted automatic recording of that call and automatic transcribing of that call? A simple activity like automatic recording of every call made and automatic transcription of that call can help the institute really find out what is the trend, what is the perception about their institute. They don't have to pay anyone else to do a market research survey, right? And that cannot be done by hand. That has to be done automatically. But I don't think more than handful of institutes in the country have even adopted it that way, right? So our adoption is basically creating an automatic application, doing some promotion on Facebook, lead generation, and then we delink it. And then we try to do it manually as much as possible, right? And it fails, right? So when you said whether technology has solved this problem, unless technological adoption is end-to-end with full interest, right? And I will also suggest something else, right? I always felt that this is something where Indian schools have actually not understood. Where does 99% of the revenue come for an Indian school, right? 95% plus revenue for an Indian school comes from fees, right? Student fees. Yes or no? Right? And the best way of engaging for that student fees is the admissions process. But you rarely find, okay, a detailed discussion on the admissions process and the automation of the admissions process involving all stakeholders at an institute level, right? The admissions process discussion, you have the admissions in charge, you have the director or the dean, whoever is in charge, and a few other people just discussing it and closing it there. Unless this adoption accept, because ultimately many faculty who are involved in the admissions process, if they find your technological interface cumbersome, it's going to fail. Similarly, how many times has the student been asked whether the application form was lengthy? A very simple example, but we have not involved that stakeholder. So that's where, right, it's technological adoption can make things super simple as long as we involve all the stakeholders and take their feedback. So that's from my side. Thank you.
All right. I have a quick follow-up on that, sir. I agree with you that, the approach for the adoption of technology has to be optimum. I think there's a lot of things that need to be done and learned in that area specifically, right? So the last year, especially with the pandemic, was one of the toughest, not anticipated, scenarios. Now, is there any suggestion towards taking GDPI process virtual? What are your views on this? Are there any specific tools that you would recommend?
Okay, we last year, means for the batch of 2022, right, the one which got admitted last year, we did not face any problems because our admission cycle closes in the month of January, right, and pandemics started hurting in March. We faced that problem this year, means for the incoming batch, where our cycle, again, admission cycle got over in January, that cycle, where, right, we were in the middle of pandemic when the things were there, and we did move completely digital. So we had an interview process, and luckily for us, we have our placement cycles starting somewhere in September. So what had happened is, given this year the placements themselves were going to be completely digital, so we were on the other side this time, where our students were going to participate, and then we actually followed the whole placement process. So I was part of that activity also. So we actually documented in detail how the placement process happened, what were the hiccups that we faced on the placement side when the students were doing the placements for the first time, what were the tools company used, many other things we actually understood, and that gave us huge insights on how to do the admissions process, right? Because here we are on the other side, right? But we knew what the problems students could face, and we accordingly did it. We did do something very interesting called as a moderated group discussion rather than a general group discussion. We used Zoom. We did not do anything else. We used Zoom to conduct our admissions process. But the moderated GD process, where because the students were at different locations, we wanted to reduce the number of participating students, but increase the toughness. We had an external alumnus of ours who actually sat and who would ask questions when he found the students were moving out of the direction, and he made it a little tougher for them. But it worked out. We were able to do the GDPA process similar to last year. It took a little more time. It took a little more efforts. But we were able to finish the admissions process. Yeah, but one thing we did find, and that is one thing that we have always said, that okay, one of the key issues that the education industry is going to face in the automation is IT infrastructure. And when we say IT infrastructure, we are not talking of the institutions IT infrastructure only, which many times the institutions are in a position to upgrade very well. It is also the IT infrastructure of the other stakeholder, right? The consumer on the other side, who is not in a position to access the institution's upgraded infrastructure, but at his own personal place. If the infrastructure is really not upgraded and accepted, right, then that is where the problem starts. Students were having difficulty in connecting and other issues, and that cannot be solved unless IT infrastructure at their place could be resolved.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir, for that. I think I'm experiencing a bit of a network issue at my end. I'll quickly move on. You've raised a very good point of marketing automation or automation of IT, right? That brings me to my next question, which is to Dr. Pachpande. I think marketing automation has, in fact, played a very, very big role. As Devinder sir was also mentioning earlier, that it's more important to give that response and as quickly as possible, right, to the data set that you have. So what is your view on the roles that a marketing automation plays today, sir, in this entire process of admissions? And what are your, do's and don'ts that you would want to share with any marketeer out there?
Yeah, you've asked me a very long question, so let me try to see how I can break it up into a few things. Yes, marketing automation is extremely becoming increasingly sophisticated, and more organizations are embracing the automation tools. The automation market is forecasted to reach 25 billion by 2023. At higher education, the higher education marketing isn't easy. And with the challenges the world has been facing lately, it's only going to get harder. And if you want your higher education institutions to thrive, you need to take online marketing game to the next level. To do that, you need the marketing automation. when we were talking about the response time, so a marketing automation platform can help you to get that in a very quick turnaround time. There was a study done by HBR, and they found that the leads are 60 times more likely to be qualified for a business when the follow-up is done within an hour. So we're not even talking about the 24 or a 48-hour cycle here. We're just talking about within an hour. It is irrespective of the time of the day the person is making an inquiry as such. So the marketing automation platforms can help you and your team focus on the important things. They can automate the repetitive tasks. You can build a personalized, dynamic, streamlined student recruitment campaigns, which can dynamically improve the conversion rate. So, most of the technologies today are using artificial intelligence, and it's playing a very critical role as such. Now, a few things when we speak about this to understand is when we talk of automation, we're not just talking about email automation, or we're not just talking about CRM. With automation, what you can do is, yes, email marketing plays a very core component of the marketing strategy. But as Aditya and Devendra were talking earlier in their talks, what is important here is whenever you go for a marketing automation tool, it is necessary to understand it as a complete life cycle of how the marketing is done. And you have to look at it in a very top level view, involving all the stakeholders and all the touch points. Then it's going to be successful as such. So, where we use marketing automation is to work very well along with the CRM and lead generation tools. Now, we have been using XtraEdge as our lead generation platform, and we are trying to integrate the marketing automation along with that. That is what is getting very good results to us. So we can deliver precise dynamic content as and when required, depending on the journey of the student as such. Again, Aditya said that, is the forms too long? We don't believe that, that you have to get all the information from the student at the first touch point itself. It should be a continuous process where you'll be collecting different informations as you go further with the engagement with the students, which is very important. So after your email marketing, what is important is the email lead nurturing that should come out through your campaigns as such. Events, newsletters, these are the other things which everyone is using for their automation. So if you ask me why it is important, you have huge savings in times and cost. It reduces the repetitive task your team is doing, gives you a bird's eye view of the marketing efforts, increases your productivity and creativity, and also it helps you to personalize your communications at scale. So that is one of the most important things, I think, what can come out. If you talk of the do's and don'ts, just to quickly put out the don'ts, see, while doing this, most people forget the existing customers. But you should understand that it is, about your all customers. Do not just use it as spamming and sending bulk messages. And don't think that marketing automation will create the content for you. So these are some of the very important don'ts during a marketing automation campaign. For the do's, you have to integrate the marketing automation with your inbound marketing strategy. That is going to be very important because getting this right will allow you consistently provide helpful and relevant content at all times, and that makes it most effective. Another do is to send highly targeted content to a more specific audience. I've been always talking about that personalized and the right communication depending on the customer journey at the right touch point as such. So that customer engagement campaigns are also going to be very, very important as such. So it's important that not to automate only the current process, but revisit your goals also, and only automate something which is really essential. Just don't go automating just for the heck of it as such. We are using see, selecting the right tool is very important. So we have been using HubSpot. We have just started using that. We are using conversational AI like Oraya Robotics. Extra Edge, I already said we are using that, and we're using certain triggers which Extra Edge is providing us to send the right communication at the right time when the student moves from one funnel to the next funnel as such.
Excellent. I have a follow-up question for you, sir. I think one of the dilemmas that I have heard marketeers talk about is what is the right balance when it comes to communication, right? I can send out 100 emails a year. I can send out 5 also. But where does the, ball optimize at? What is the right balance here? What is your say? Not just to do with email. What is the right combination of, email, SMS, calls for that matter, along with WhatsApp? What is the right balance to strike, sir?
Yeah, see, it's a very nice question you asked. Most of the times people get overwhelmed when sending too much information to someone, and with so many institutions shooting out so much mails, it's very likely that it may have a negative impact rather than having positive impact. So it's a very thin line which you have to follow, and there is no fixed answer to this. But that's where I think if you use a right mix, that is what is needed. The phone call, what Aditya sir mentioned, it's very important. That engagement should be there on telephones, it has to be on emails, it has to be on WhatsApp, it has to have video, it has to have your PDFs and infographics. Again, it should be what your TG requires, and it's definitely the key not to send too much information, because most of the times it's going to happen that he is not read it, or they have not gone through it properly, and you have moved him to the next funnel without him understanding the first funnel for which the strategy was made for.
Right, absolutely. So I will come back to you on that question. I have a lot more questions, but I'm sure we are short of time. But then, as you mentioned, I think marketing automation is a 1-year syllabus that can go on. It would not stop at any point. So Purnima ma'am, coming to you, you play a very different role today than what traditional marketeers or admission heads do. Outreach has evolved over a period of time, in recent times as well. And many universities today have adopted a proper outreach setup. They have outreach teams that are dedicated to doing this, right? If you can shed some light on, how is outreach a different strategy? How important or what role can technology aid in the process of outreach? How does it in itself, right, link back to admissions and counseling?
So I think outreach has a very, very important role to play. And given this pandemic, I mean, the word outreach talks about how are you reaching out to people. That's a very, very important segment in every organization, and I think is present in everywhere, not only universities, but I think across industries, because that is something where you're reaching out to people, you're connecting to people. And given the pandemic, I think this outreach came to a halt. I mean, you would not be physically allowed to go out, talk, interact. But then I think this is where, when I said in the beginning that digitalization has its own goods and bads, and that's because we haven't really adopted it that well, because we'll adopt as per time, as per need, as per choice. But I think during this pandemic, it has become an inevitable part of us. We have to be digital to connect to people, to do our outreach activities, to coordinate. And I think there have been several platforms where we have connected and done our outreach program. And sooner or later, I think this digital synergy will definitely be there, because like I said, the irony was we had to inevitably be a part of it, but eventually this was the plan. This had to happen, because if you're not going to be digitally upgrading yourself, you'll be lagging behind. So this is a very, very important tool. And I think the more we understand it, the more we get into it, and the more we understand the loopholes. Because yes, problems are bound to come. Everything has a pro and con, so we have to understand the pros, and we have to understand the cons. And the sooner we do it, the better it will be for us, because you see how easily we have been able to connect with everybody. Sitting here, I'm able to connect with everybody around the world. So it is definitely energy and cost saving. It's a very, very important thing, yeah. So, but at the same time, when we talk about how outreach activity is really, really, bringing us advantage or not, I think that's when we come back to our admissions and our counseling. That's the most important tool. And automation, like we were talking about, is definitely an important part. Like if I'm doing an outreach activity to understand whether my activity has been fruitful or it has given the kind of response it should be getting, I think that will come down when we connect to our admissions and counseling team. And when we're talking about this apps and these software that we're using, of course, XtraEdge is something that we are also using, and we are also working on the same. So I think it is very important because that helps us to prioritize our data. Today, data is something which is like, some currency we have. If we have data, we have some currency, we have something with us. So, but then at the same time, it is also important that we have those kind of softwares where we are able to use that data properly. If we have data, it's like I said, everything has its own pros and cons. If we have data but it's of no use, and I think it'll be of nothing. So we have to understand to use that data also properly, and that's where these softwares come to the picture, where they help us to prioritize, they help us to understand the data, understand the geographical spread of it. Because you see, the more you get into the data, the more sophisticated your software is to help you understand from where are you getting your leads, which is the most important one, what are the interests of the child. So here I think I'd like to add something more about the last question. We were talking about the emails that they're sending, the information that is being sent. I think today it is very important for us to understand what the consumer wants. And here, for every university, the consumer is the student. So we must understand what is the student looking at, and what exactly should be the education that we are wanting to give them. We are just giving out information like bulk. It will not help us. We have to understand the psyche of the students. What exactly are they looking at? What is the need of the industry? What is the need of the education system? Just because we have something and we are throwing across will not help us. How much we throw, we give hundreds of mails or hundreds of information or calls, it will not help us. Yeah. So I think it is very important, and all these things eventually help us to prepare us, the outreach team, to have a dialogue, to have a plan, to have a strategy. So I think outreach and admissions and counseling, everything go hand in hand. And the more software we have in them, I think the more easier it gets for us. We are more precise, we are more focused, we have more written information rather than having just a vague one. So I think all these things are very important for us to grow, and we must understand that all the stakeholders, like Aditya sir said, all the stakeholders have to be kept in the loop. Everyone from the bottom till the end, because if you do not keep everybody in the loop, I think we are somewhere missing the chain. So that's what I would say. It's very important to have.
With the second wave of the pandemic coming around, have the physical activities started already for the outreach teams?
So I'll say a little bit. I won't say in the full swing like we would want, but yes, it's a little slow because, like I said, we cannot risk at this time. It is very important for us to make sure that we are not risking anybody, any situation for doing an outreach team. And digital integration has been most important, the core right now, and we are trying to connect to as many people, as many institutes, and as many stakeholders through digital activity, because physical is something, like I said, we are following 100% protocol, but trust me, there is nothing like physical. When you interact with something physically, it's absolutely different to digital. But yes, everything has its own benefits and flaws. Yeah.
I think there is no such thing as 100% automation or 100% technology-based activity. Right? The human touch, I think, is one of the most important aspect. And outreach teams today, and the success of outreach teams are a hardcore, truth and fact. They justify this aspect that we are still physicality-driven, and we want to meet in person, get that feel of the people, the university, the campus, and then take a decision whether to join or not. That brings me back to Devendra sir, I think with the region that you are in, the students always prefer to see the campus before taking a decision. They want to see how big, beautiful, what the facilities are. So how have you been tackling this in terms of your counseling process? Or if you could also add upon the previous topic that we discussed, where the response time, or how do you engage with this data, right? What is your ideal take? How do we engage with these students or the data set that we have?
See, first question first. Basically, when we talk about, I agree with that. The physical visit is important for a student.
Yes.
But how big the campus is, that is not very important. Important
Yeah.
is that how beautiful, how well equipped your lab and library is. Because that is the core for any, especially with a technical university or technical institution.
Correct.
Okay. Infrastructure plays a very important role in the mind of. I tell you that. I'll talk about year 1999. Okay. When the physical counseling is the core.
Correct.
When the UP Technical University and different universities are just established, and the physical counseling is happening in UP. So at that time, students come to you physically, and counseling session goes up to, almost whole night sometime. And suddenly a student comes and says, "Sir, I heard that the campus you are showing in the brochure is not exist."
Oh.
Okay, and these all are fake. So sometime to make the things more interesting, and I used to do counseling myself for many times.
Wow.
So I said that we do one thing. Okay, let's book a ticket, or with my vehicle we can go back to the campus. You see the campus. If you satisfy, then take admission. The rest I'll bear the cost. So that is something, a type of, that the personal emotion connection is needed when we're talking about the word counseling. Okay. Nowadays, the counseling word is somewhere missing in the entire process. It is more of a sales kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. So, and we are in education, we are talking more about sales and less about the counseling, where we are,
right. Right.
If you remember, when you are in the school or college, एक word है कि students का भेड़ चाल चलता है. The peer pressure is very heavy on the students. Suppose इंजीनियरिंग में अगर कंप्यूटर साइंस में एक एडमिशन शुरू होगा, तो सभी बच्चे उस टाइम पे कंप्यूटर साइंस के पीछे भागेंगे. इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स शुरू होगा तो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स हो जाएगा. एंड that is somewhere, the counseling plays a very important role in that time. Okay, so that physical connect, the visit of the campus, all these things are very important. But yes, thanks to the technology, you can create the virtual image of the campus. You can show it virtually to the campus, and if you are able to doing webinars where you are showing your infrastructure, when we can, like we are doing right now. So somewhere in the mind of the student, it comes that yes, the university or institute is having those kind of capability and capacity, which able to give me what is the required in future. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if you repeat the second question again about the data, then I can answer that also.
जी सर. So basically मेरा question ये था कि you mentioned the response time for any data that you have. The quicker the response, the better engagement. So what is your advice in terms of how many touch points, how many times should we email a student, how many times should we call them, when does a marketeer stop, right? When do you give up, or what is the balance there?
See, it is very difficult to gauge that balance. It is different for different students or different inquiry, and it also depends on the person who is handling that particular data. Your response time is much lesser than what my response time.
Right.
Okay. So it depends on the individual. That's where the human intervention comes into. Where still we talk about that artificial intelligence or technology. In all this, in the entire circle, the human being is still leading somewhere somehow. So if we talk in terms of the timing, yes, it is very difficult to gauge that, but yes, it is a planned way. It totally depending on the the area you are talking about, because there are areas still they are not, students are using smartphones, students are using internet, but still they are not habitual to watch or see their mail regular. And
Right.
while we are talking about student ourselves, we see that many times we ignore many mail. We are not going to read each and every mail which coming in our mailbox.
Right.
Okay, so somewhere subject matter is very important. Okay,
Absolutely.
and that subject matters really plays a very important role in it. So when we are talking about mailer, yes, of course, if student has to respond to you, maximum 1 or 2 mailer will create that impression, and they will respond to you immediately. And if student has not to respond, you send 100 mails, definitely they are not going to solve the
Right.
purpose. I mean, they are not going to read it, they are not going to see it, and your purpose will be defeated. So and it is not only for the digital market, any kind of market, if it is a print, if it is a digital, if it is hoardings, whatever way you want to use, access is not advisable. Okay,
Absolutely.
and you need to see that how balanced you do your marketing. That is more important. How good, how beautifully you are visible, basically. तो जितना ज्यादा आप जितने प्लांट वे में आप दिखाई देंगे, उतना ज्यादा आप अपना इंप्रेशन जो है वो स्टूडेंट पे छोड़ सकते हैं. दिस इज व्हाट आई फील.
Excellent. So, in terms of quantity versus quality, the emphasis should always be on quality. It's not about how many emails and communications you do, but then what is the quality of each of those email, SMS, WhatsApp, or call that you make is what's more important. Thank you for those deep insights.
Absolutely right.
Thank you for those deep insights. So, Aditya sir, coming back to you, I think again, this particular aspect is evolving with time. Today the millennial, Purnima ma'am mentioned about the student persona, the consumer persona, right? That's important. The millennial today is addicted to mobiles, he's addicted to devices, he's born digital native. In your particular processes, how have you seen the trends with mobility being one of the core aspects? Some recent studies have also suggested over 86% students today are on mobile. They want to fill their application on mobile, they want to do literally everything. They don't even want to go to their desktops or laptops. So what have been the strategy around this? What have been the trends around this? If you could shed some light, sir.
No, you're right, Sukrita. Students are on mobile, okay, and even though they are on mobile, they're actually, if you really look at it, they are engaging the mobile not on all the platforms, but on a very few platforms. For example, if you really ask me today, if you do a survey, an anonymous survey across the student cohort which is going to join next year to these schools, you'll find Facebook is no more their interest area, right?
Right.
Or no one visits our websites. Right. Okay, so one of the key things, for example, today that is actually being done, not being done in the education space, but is basically being done in the automobile space, as astonishingly, is that companies are revamping or changing their website to a concept called mobile first. That is, the website is designed for a mobile in a scroll form and then adapted to the desktop structure rather than other way around. Okay, given that it's going to be right. So that's a very interesting thing that is being done. We are going to do it at TAPMI, but I don't see many B schools really think on those terms. That, like I told you, right? Admissions, even though admissions is the source of our revenue on such a large scale, very few schools really focus on modifying their whole aspect engagement to admissions, right? It is treated as a separate department, and it's not integrated much, right? Other thing is, right, the best place to really engage is via students, existing students, engaging the incoming students on Instagram, right? If I certainly agree with what Professor Devendra was saying, that there is a very less chance the students will read your email, but I'll tell you 99.99% of this time, student will actually check the Instagram, especially if it is posted by another student, right? And that's a very simple way of engaging with the students, right? You create an existing student team and just give them the access to your Instagram and then do it, right? And they will do it.
Correct.
And then they will also share things that we as administrators will find uncomfortable. But we should be open to the fact that that is at their age acceptable, and they may not find it uncomfortable, right?
Hmm.
For example, let's think of it, discussion about what are the best bars around your institute, right? Would make any admission guy really uncomfortable. But I will tell you that is a discussion that happens between the existing students and the incoming students very, very clearly, right? But you might be astonished, students actually find it very interesting. They think that the institute is very open in culture and that should be a choice, right? Some of these things do happen. So yes, mobility is a fact, and it's not going to go back. It's going to actually stay. It's going to go more and more, right? Laptops will actually become irrelevant unless you're doing a high value analysis or high data analysis and all other types of things. And slowly people will move to mobility. Nowadays, no one believes in desktops unless it's a very high intense activity that is to be done. And security is a big issue. Mobility will be the focus here, and we have to move to mobility. There is no solution out of it.
Excellent.
You have to
So
accept it.
absolutely. So I think before we move to closing remarks, one last question that I have, and I would want to leave this question open, because most of you, in fact, all of you have adopted various types of technologies. You have been pioneers in this segment, experimented, done as, Aditya sir mentioned, adopted, tried different approaches. So for automating the admission process, what is good, a CRM versus an ERP? What are the pros and cons? So I will leave this question open. Whoever would want to, share views on this, please do.
Suprita, I will take this question as a start, and then I would certainly expect my other panelists to also add, right? If you really ask me, Suprita, that's a wrong question. Okay, CRM is an input to ERP, right? If you are going to disconnect the two, then we are going to fail, right? Okay, you might adopt CRM extensively, which will help you collect information. It will also help you organize information, but ERP is a place where you can actually use it, right? For a really good school, the inputs during admissions should flow seamlessly flow till the student graduates and gets placed, right? There should not be any hiccup into it. And you might not be, so we have the AICT handbook that has just been announced, right? The APH, AICT process handbook that for 2022 that has just been open, or 2021 that has 21-22 that has just been started. AICT is actually focusing on it on a large scale, right? Go to NIRF, they are asking information which is seamless. They're expecting that information to be very seamless, and they expect everything to be filled. You try to fill in the AICT application for EOA, extension of approval, and they are asking all this information. They expect admission registers to be maintained, which are basically right from the start of the student joining till the student graduates on all aspects. So all these aspects only are possible if the CRM and ERP are interconnected. So if you are saying CRM or ERP, I don't think that's the right question to ask. It should be CRM and ERP. And I think technology today should focus on how to integrate it seamlessly.
Excellent.
That's my
Thank you. Thank you so much for that view, sir.
So I'll just add on. Of course, like sir is saying, technology is definitely an important part, and the more we upgrade ourselves and the more we get into ourselves, I think the better functioning of the entire process will happen. Because, like I said, we have too much of activity today. I mean, to what it was, to what it is now, the number of touch points, the number of activity, the number of programs that we are doing today has really increased in manifolds. It has increased in manifolds. So we have to really understand, the more technologically driven we are, the more better it will be. Because we cannot waste our time on some tedious activities. and we have to incorporate it. Yes, there will be hiccups, there will be issues. The more better we become used to it, I think the better we will be in dealing with our work, because I think today we have much more to do than with all these basic things which we can outsource, or which we can really manage through softwares. So why not do it, and why not focus on more on research and more on understanding, and maybe improvising our work and improvising our structure better. Because today I think the competition is very very high and very strong, and students are very very evolved. Today students know much more than they used to, and they are very very clear as to what they want to do, how much they want to put in their efforts, where all they want to put in their efforts. They're very very evolved students today. So I think it is very important for us to understand these parts, and give them those kind of understanding, rather than just focusing and wasting our time on the traditional thing. I think, I mean, I might not say wasting, that's the wrong word, but then traditional today needs to be more updated. I think that's what my point of view is.
Wonderful. Thank you for those views, ma'am.
Suprita, just following up again on that,
Yes, sir.
I'm one of the persons who has been in all cycles of this, right, into even going and trying to develop our own system. The problem here is that there is no one system which can play all the roles and functions in a very proper way. So it is very imperative that we need to have different systems for the different tasks and functions, and they have to be able to talk to each other.
Right.
See, for example, yes, there are ERPs for education institutions, but they may not be really good at accounts as much as Tally is.
Absolutely.
They may provide you a CRM, but they may not be as good as ExtraEdge.
Absolutely.
So again, so we have to have in the current setup different systems. And as I said during my talk itself, that CRM and marketing automation are two different things.
Right. Absolutely.
We have to use the right tools and for the right task and right functions, and only then it will work out. So it's not a question of this or that. I think you will have to have both in place.
Thank you so much. I think you've hit. This has been one of the most exciting and learning panels that I've been in. Devinder sir, if you would want to quickly add to that question.
Yeah, I try to I agree with the whatever the my co-panelists talk about, and I try to simplify this. I normally see it like in a normal language, that the ERP is like a bungalow, which is having a multiple doors and multiple windows, and CRM is one of those doors to use for a different purpose. Okay?
Right.
So, as Mr. Pachai said, that it is not possible to stick to one particular system. We use it. We have to use a multiple things, and definitely, again, I'm repeating as I started. It is how well we utilize that thing. The usage is very important. If I don't know how to use my tool, there is no use of them. There is no fun of using that kind of tool, which I'm not interested to do that. And sometimes it is difficult, especially if you talk about education institute, and my colleagues definitely understand this better way, that introducing something new, it is always tough, and you need to explain it. So you need to take it from that angle. So everybody is having their own comfort zones.
True.
Okay, so we need to see that where the people are more comfortable, and we use the technology accordingly. This is my say on that.
So yeah, I think I'd like to add to that. I think the fact that why students are sticking on to mobile and not using, because I think it's the more user-friendly thing. So like Sir said, yes, it is very important. Whatever software we are using today, it has to be really, really user-friendly. Because the more user-friendly is, the more the response you'll get from the user or the student. You have to understand them, and you have to accordingly, shift your programming, or you have to shift your interface in that manner, which is very very user friendly. Because I think that's more quicker. Students today are very impatient. They want quick response, quick understanding. If they don't have that, they'll quickly leave that thing. So it is very important for us to understand that aspect and accordingly prepare the interface or the softwares. That's what I
Excellent.
say.
Excellent. Thank you, Purnima ma'am. So, coming back to, Aditya sir, more to do from you mentioned about accreditations, you mentioned about data, right? The information. There is always a point where you capture the information and then feed it to several systems. Assessments also have, been a key area, which is very, very specialized, just like as Pachpande sir mentioned before. Now, not a single tool can take care of all of this, but then at the same time, integrations are also one aspect, right, which are very, very tricky when it comes to technology, and they're not easy. Not many of these have proper APIs, and a lot of other challenges crop up when you talk about multiple systems. What would be your take in terms of what are the right tools to have for an admission team or a B school like yours, where should we have a dedicated assessment tool, a dedicated, accreditation data collection tool, a dedicated entrance exam tool? What are the tools you would recommend, sir? What are the blend of tools, rather?
Yeah, interesting, Suprita. Suprita, I have a completely different take on it, right? For example, Dr. Sandeep made a very interesting comment about Tally, right? And
Right.
today, Tally is one of the most successful tools, if you really look at it, because it is designed keeping the customer in mind, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, I would be very frank here, not a single IT service provider in this country has ever designed a tool keeping the educational institutions in mind, right? And I would be very frank in it, right? Each one is trying to provide one portion of that solution that is also pre-designed by them, okay, and not much customizable, and they expect the educational institutions to modify their processes to adopt it, okay. One, I even suggest, even if Extra Edge ever comes out with an ERP, CRM come ERP designed for an educational institution, in a country like India, which has more than 60,000 engineering colleges, okay, 4,000 MBA colleges, right? We have 1/3 of the MBA colleges of the world. You might be
Right.
astonished, but that's are in India, right? And forget other universities and other colleges, okay? And tool which is designed specifically keeping an educational institution in mind and customizable on that front, okay, you might actually have the next Ambani coming out of it, because education is never going to die as an industry, and service provided
Right.
education, right? So rather than
Correct.
thinking of what are the different tools and how to engage them, I would request you guys to really design a comprehensive tool, and I think that's not difficult. Only thing is, rather than adopting it from some other industry, keep the education industry at the forefront to design it. And that's a very simple request.
Absolutely, sir. I think that is where our mission, in fact, started. Albeit we will not be moving towards ERP. There are very good companies out there today that have been doing this for education, that have started out in the last 3-4 years, right? But yes, I agree with you completely. I think that's the core challenge that we also realized about 5 years back, that there is no specific tool designed, to solve these problems in education. And education as an industry differs so vastly from other industries. The processes, the thought process, the audience, there is so much of a difference, right? The users as well, you mentioned about user interfaces.
No. Suprita, I would rather say, which is the closest replication of an education industry? The closest replica of the education industry is the IT industry itself, right? Extremely human oriented, okay? Assets are purely for hosting the key revenue generation source, that is people. That's the same with the education institutions, right? You have top-notch professors, you have top-notch customers, people, students, and that, right? But the IT industry can design something for itself, but is saying that, okay, it cannot design something for the education institutions, is something that I would not accept, okay? It only needs an application which is not thought out. Knowing fully well that education institutions, actually, if you look in revenue terms, right, for every individual human being, 5%, 10% of his total and lifetime capital generation is invested in education, right? Which is much more than what is invested in IT, much more than what is invested even in his vehicle.
Correct.
But it's not served, okay?
I think mostly because the problems that exist in education, right, can only be understood by educators, and this is where
IT industry guys cannot say it, Suprita. Okay, after all, you serve automobile companies without understanding how to design an automobile. So you cannot make such a claim. Okay,
Sure.
engagement is the key.
Sure, undoubtedly. So I got your point. I think would not want to deviate too much from the topic out here today. I think we can always take that discussion offline. A lot of things to learn from you. Would want to quickly take closing remarks. I think Gopi or Akash, so if you're there, what is the time left that we have? If we can quickly take closing remarks from each of the panelists, it would be excellent to, close this discussion on a high note. Yeah, I'll leave the floor open to all the panelists to share a couple of closing remarks on the topic of tackling the innovation in admission, enrollment, assessment, and accreditation.
So yeah, I think I'll begin. I think it's the most important part in education. This is the most, I think, a very, very important aspect of admission. And innovation, if it's not there in this department, I think then the next of the departments won't work. So we have to have digitalization. We have to have software, like Sir said, specifically education design and not just redone. I think it is very, very imperative that we think about it and work upon it. Only then can we have a solutions. And today, education industry in itself also has to evolve and move accordingly. It cannot just keep sitting over it. It has to understand. Of course, issues will come, but we must understand we have to get along with the industry accordingly. So yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnima ma'am.
Yeah, if you're waiting for someone to go next, I will go next. What is important is that everyone agrees that we have to adopt technology and we have to bring in innovations in engaging in properly delivering all these three things what you have mentioned. However, what I would like to emphasize is on that let us not forget the main objective and the customer in mind and the human element while adopting these things.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Pachpande. Aditya sir, closing remarks from you.
Yeah, I would just like to say that technology adoption is not a choice anymore, right? It is going to happen whether you like it or not, or you may not exist anymore. But like Dr. Sandeep said, that technology adoption can only happen if it serves the purpose, right? And hence, I'm really looking forward for a really good tool, integrated tool, which will serve the education sector.
We will do that for you, sir.
See, as we have no choice, like Aditya rightly said, that we have no other option. So I think that now the technology has to be focused more on the task, and there has to be more, on process, because up till and until task and process go together, it is very difficult to get the results.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you, Devendra sir. I think this has been by far one of the most powerful panel discussions I have been with. A very dedicated topic around admissions, technology, and marketing automation. I will have to personally want to thank each one of you, the panelists. You have added so much value, the insights that you shared, the thought process, because these are a lot of questions that marketeers are faced with day in and day out, right? What should be done with this kind of, be it strategy, be it technology, be it adoption, be it the approach. I think there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more to learn. Thank you to each one of you. And thank you to APAC News Network for organizing this and giving us an opportunity to have this discussion. This is going to go a long way. Thank you, Gopi.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Suprita, for moderating this session so well. Thanks to all the eminent panelists for bringing out very important points and stats and deliberating on various aspects of admissions and enrollments. We at APAC will continue to create many more such platforms for the deliberation so that we collectively move in the right direction to create better and new India. And I would like to thank Dr. Sandeep, Chairman, ASM Group of Institute, for joining us for the session. Professor Aditya Mohan Jadhav, Chairman, Branding and PR, Tapni Manipal, Mr. Devendra Narayan, Director, Corporate Relations in Shobit University, and Ms. Purnima Prakash, Manager Outreach, Avantika University, for joining for this session. It was a very wonderful session. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us for this session. Stay tuned for more sessions. Thank you so much. Thank you.